everyone. Happy Friday. This week we were asked to read about what can PISA tell us about the U.S. educational policy by Linda Darling Hammond. And PISA is the Program for International Student Assessment. I'm going to be reading off a couple notes that I took. So for this topic, we were discussing the growing segregation within schools and the inequality with the use of curriculum. So some notes that I took throughout the chapter, which really I resonated with really well. I definitely see this working in a Philly public charter school and having the last 12 years of working in underprivileged communities. So some of the things that really resonated with me while we were reading was about the large performance gap between high-income and low-income students. As a person who had the privilege of growing up in a middle-class home, but living literally down the street from a low-income population, I've definitely seen the difference and the gaps between different communities that are literally miles apart from each other. A quote that I really resonated with was from page 4. The root of inequality in education outcomes in the United States is growing poverty and resegregation. I truly resonated with this quote because it is an ever-growing problem. Throughout the rest of the chapter, it discussed how students who come from low-income families have a difficult time playing catch-up or closing the gap, especially the learning gap. The chapter discussed how low-income kindergarten students come in with less social and emotional skills and language experiences as compared to their middle-class counterparts, and it's about 30 to 40%, which is insane, but at the same time, it's something that I see on a regular basis, and as a special education liaison, I see it between both of my buildings. There are a huge number of kindergarten and first graders that come in who have absolutely no literacy experience, very little identification of letters, sounds. Some of them don't know their colors because they didn't have the opportunity before they came to us. And then they have their counterparts who have come from a middle class or higher income that have a better opportunity, and you can see a very large gap just between students in our classes. Another thing I noted on page 5 is that it states that studies show that the size of the working vocabulary of a 4-year-old child from a low-income family is approximately 1/3 that of the children of the middle class. I thought that was a very interesting percentile, but I see it within my own community. The chapter also discussed how unequal distribution of curriculum and teachers affects the outcomes of the students, and then it went in to discuss how other countries have tried to address this problem. I thought this was fairly important to discuss really quickly. I know I'm over 3 minutes already, but I really wish that our government would actually sit down and read this, because it is a huge problem within the United States. I know I've only ever worked in New Jersey, specifically Camden and Philadelphia, but it is extremely, extremely obvious, again, growing up in a middle-class area, about the difference in the curriculums. And then it also brought up teachers and how undervalued American teachers are, and how they don't put as much emphasis on pushing yourself to get a higher education. It actually makes it much more difficult to find a good job when you have too much experience and too many degrees in the United States, whereas in places like Finland and Singapore, it's actually it's pushed. They want you to go back. They want you to make yourself a better teacher. They want to put good, strong teachers in front of the classroom. Another thing that I noted is that in Finland and Singapore, they have a curriculum that the entire country uses, especially for K-8, and they use it what did it say? They use the, I didn't write this one down. They use it to kind of make sure that everybody's able to receive the same amount of information. I want to go into more, but I'm already over 5 minutes. I hope you guys got a lot out of this. I know I really did with this reading. Let me know what you think. Thanks for listening.